Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my show where I offer misguided advice about video games. Game of choice, Hearthstone. My name is Meerkat. Today is Tuesday, February 10th, 2015. Got the date correct. I always have to look in the bottom corner of my screen. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the Shockadin deck, which is a deck that was made popular before GvG expansion came out. I think it was even pre-Nax Ramus, if I'm not mistaken. But I haven't seen a lot of people play it, and it's kind of surfaced again. I found this deck list on hearthpwn.com, hearthpwn.com. And again, it's just a basic Shockadin deck. Now, if you want to look it up on the website, it's not just called Shockadin. The actual name for this deck is called Put Your Faith in the Shock. But that's too long for me. I didn't want to put that many words into my dialogue box up here. And basically, I just wanted to describe what it is, which it is a Shockadin deck. So let's go ahead and hop into the deck list, shall we? 2 Blessing of Mights, 2 Abusive Sergeants, 2 Argent Squires, 2 Leper Gnomes, 2 Worgen Infiltrators. Now, already right off the bat, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3 different type of minions that are 1 cost. And this is a very aggressive style deck. For those of you who do not know what Shockadin is all about, it's about as aggressive as a paladin can get when it comes to being an aggro style deck for a paladin. So anyways, you got a lot of cheap cards here, and I'll explain some more as I go on, but let me continue the list here. 2 equalities, 2 knife jugglers, 2 loot hoarders. Now the equalities, you can play this a lot of different ways. You can play an equality and then you'll have your knife juggler and try to get some RNG knife throws off of it. You've got your quality for wiping out with Consecration. You can do some combos with it. You've also got an Avenging Wrath. So it's a good combination to pair up here. Moving on, 2 knife jugglers, 2 loot hoarders, 2 shielded minibots, 1 sword of justice, 2 divine favors for your big card draw, and sometimes you can get a lot of card draw with the divine favor. 2 muster for battles, 2 Truesilver Champions, 2 consecrations, 2 hammer of wraths, and 1 avenging wrath. Let's go ahead and back out of here and hop straight into a deck, and I'll talk about some of the different things you want to look out for with the Shockadin GvG Shockadin deck. Now, you'll notice that there aren't a lot of actual GvG cards in there. In fact, there's only 1 kind and 2 of them, which is the Shielded Minibot. Shielded Minibot is a mech type of minion card that came out in GvG, and it is not the greatest card, but it will guarantee you at least 2 swings within the Shockadin deck, which is something that's really beneficial, especially for playing something so aggressive.
I will fight with honor.
Okay, so right off the bat, what do you want to mulligan? Now, what I always try to mulligan is I always try to get 1 and 2 cost cards that are minions. So if I don't have any 1 or 2 cost cards that are minions, I go ahead and throw back everything else. Sword of Justice, I would normally keep this if I already had a minion, but because I don't, I'm going to toss it back. Blessing of Might really doesn't do me any good here, not having a minion already, and I'm going to throw back the equality. Pretty much every single game, I always throw back equality, I always throw back Consecration, always throw back Truesilver Champion. Basically, if it's not a 1 or 2 cost minion, then chances are you're going to want to throw it back, with the exception of Muster for Battle, which costs 3, and the exception of Sword of Justice, if you've already got a good lineup, but in that case I didn't. Anyways, let me go ahead and draw here. So since I am going turn 1, I'm going to go ahead and drop the Argent Squire. Now, one thing that you want to do when you're playing Shockadin is you want to be as aggressive as you can. If you're playing against other aggro type of decks, you want to trade efficiently. If you're playing against controlling decks, you want to go straight for face as hard as you can. And a lot of the different druids that I've been playing lately have been playing very, not aggressive, but ramp style decks, where they have their innervates, they've got their wild growths, and they rack up the mana crystals really early. So with that being the case, I want to just push in as hard as I can, as fast as I can. But to be honest with you, this Murloc Tidecaller, I have never seen a druid play that before, so I'm assuming he must be some kind of a Murloc Savage Roar type of deck. In any case, not a big deal. I'm going to go ahead and just start dropping down the minions and attack now. The Argent Squire and the Shielded Minibots are your 2 different type of cards that have Divine Shield. These are the kind of cards that you want to put your Blessing of Bites on, because usually it means you can either get at least 4 or 5 points of damage in 1 swing, plus you'll most likely be able to get even a second swing because they do have Divine Shield. Now, looks like he is going to be dropping down a lot of Murlocs. which is a little bit concerning. What do I want to do here? I'm going to go ahead and just drop down my Shielded Minibot. And I'm just going to go ahead and continue to ignore him. Even though he is going to be able to ramp up his Murlocs when he starts throwing down more of them. I've got a Consecration here that I can drop next turn. I'm not too worried about it. Even though everything has got 3 hit points, which is not something that I am... Oh, yeah, so this is interesting. I've never seen a Druid play this kind of Murloc deck, at least not recently. Really interesting play here. Well, let's just go ahead and drop down the Consecration. We're going to have to trade out some minions here. But, oh well. The good thing is... Oh my gosh, I can't click on my minion. The good thing is I've still got 2 minions on the table. He's got 3 cards, I've got 2, so we're kind of about even here. He does do more damage than me right now. Now, I'm not worried about this at all. A swipe and that still has 1 hit point. That guy is still alive, so if he does have another swipe, again, I'm not too worried about it. So now we've got complete board control. He could do another swipe, get rid of the Knife Juggler and all of my other minions, but it's very unlikely that he's got that second swipe in his hand right now. But we'll see. Divine Favor. Divine Favor is a hard card to play when you're playing against an aggressive opponent like the Druid that we're playing here, which is playing a Murloc deck. It's so strange. I've not seen that. Unless that's something new that is brand new. Because I've been playing the Shockadin deck here for quite a while. I've probably played close to 20 matches so far with the Shockadin deck. So, I mean, not, you know, crazy amount, but enough to kind of understand the basics. Okay, so it looks like he is going to be trying to get rid of some of my minions. He's worried that he's going to be overwhelmed here. So, and he would be right. Now, I'm only going to get 2 cards out of the Divine Favor, but that's pretty much all I'm going to be able to do, so might as well take what I can get. Okay, so we did not actually pull off any knives, which is okay. So... he's in a lot of trouble right now, unless he's got some kind of a crazy combo, which I don't think he has. If he has a swipe, not going to help. If he has, what's it called? Force of Nature? That's not going to help. Force of Nature, there it is. So he can trade some of my cards, or go straight for face. Okay, so he's going to trade some of my cards. And either way, I've still pretty much, yep. And there's the actual game. Well played. Alright. And there you go. So that was actually kind of a close match. A little weird matchup. To be honest with you, I'm not used to playing against a Druid that has Murlocs. I think I've seen it before in the past, but not recently. That's really strange. I've seen Shamans and Warlocks play with Murlocs. Hell, I've even actually seen Mages play Murloc decks. I don't know why. But there you go. That's the Shockadin deck, or more formally known as the Put Your Faith in the Shock deck from Hearthstone.com. Go back into the deck list one more time, and just a couple of things to look out for if you do want to play. You do want to play very aggressive. If you're playing against a control type of character, so Control Warrior, Control Mage. If you're playing against a very controlling Druid, like a Fatigue Druid or something like that, you definitely want to be as aggressive as you can, as fast as you can, as hard as you can. If you're playing against another aggro type of player, which majority of people around the lower ranks, like rank 10 and plus up to 25, a lot of them are going to be playing quite a few aggro style decks. It's just the nature of laddering. You want to play the quick and fast games early on, and then the controlling games when you get to the lower ranks. Anyways, so if you're playing against aggro players, you want to look out for efficient trade. You don't necessarily always want to go straight for face, because aggro players do have a couple of wipes that they can get rid of all your cheap minions, because most of your minions are going to have anywhere from 1 to 3 hit points, at most 3 hit points. So usually it's in the 1 to 2 hit point range, and because of that, you really want to pay attention to getting efficient trades. And what does that mean? You want to make sure that whenever your aggro opponent is actually trying to rush you down first, don't necessarily trade all of your minions with his. You want to get the most efficient trade. So for example, let's say your opponent has, I don't know, a Silver Hand Recruit. Say your opponent is a Paladin. Say your opponent has a Silver Hand Recruit and you yourself, excuse me, you yourself have a Shielded Minibot on the table. An efficient trade would to be not to attack into a Silver Hand Recruit. And for obvious reasons, it's a 1-1, you've got a 2-2 with Divine Shield. So what you would do in that case is you would attack your opponent with the Shielded Minibot, doing 2 points of damage, and then your opponent would either have to buff up the actual Silver Hand Recruit, or he's going to use the Silver Hand Recruit as a sacrifice to pop the Divine Shield, and then have to come up with like a Consecration to get rid of it, or some other type of way to get rid of it. So the point is, you want to make sure that if you're playing against aggro type of decks, you want to be very efficient in your trades and think ahead of at least 1 or 2 turns ahead. But for the most part, in this type of deck, you really can go for face as much as you would like within reason. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And until next time, my name is Meerkat.